Hey, word nerds, you ready to level up your vocabulary?
Hmm.
We're going to be looking at language learning today.
Yeah.
And this is not going to be your typical vocab lesson.
I think people don't realize that growing your vocabulary isn't just about learning definitions.
Oh, really?
It's like it changes how you think, how you talk, maybe even how you see the world.
Okay, I'm interested already. So, where do we start?
Hmm.
I hear everything from read more to flashcards, but it all feels kind of overwhelming.
Well, think about how you learned to talk the first time.
Hmm.
It wasn't flashcards, right?
Yeah.
It was just hearing it all the time, playing with words, just being curious about everything.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it's not like we wake up one day and just know how to talk.
Exactly. And the good news is we can kind of use that same way of learning to learn more words as adults.
So, are you saying we should go around babbling like babies?
Hmm.
I don't think my neighbors would like that too much.
Well, not quite, but we can use some of the same ideas. Like, you know how much kids love stories? Starting with simple books that are fun to read, even kids' books can really help.
Really? Children's books. Isn't that, I don't know, a little basic for us?
No, don't think those stories are too simple.
Okay.
They often have a lot of interesting words hidden in the story, and it makes learning feel easy.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. It's like hiding veggies in a smoothie or something.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about remembering all those new words?
Yeah.
How do we actually do that?
Well, that's where we can look at how memory works.
Okay.
There's this really cool technique called spaced repetition.
Spaced repetition, huh? That sounds kind of sci-fi.
It's actually pretty simple, but it works really well.
Mm.
Basically, you review words more and more as you start to forget them.
Oh.
Forgetting is actually really important for learning.
Oh, so it's like a brain workout, reminding it what's important.
Exactly. And the best part is, there are apps that can do all of this for you.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Oh. Digital flashcards like Anki use, special formulas to decide when you should see the words again.
That's pretty neat. I'm all about making learning easier.
Right.
But then what about actually using those new words in real life? I feel like sometimes I learn a word and it just sits in my brain and I never use it.
Yeah, that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's what we call active recall.
Okay.
It's not enough to just know the word. You have to pull it out of your memory when you need it.
Yeah.
And that's where actually speaking or writing, even just thinking in English, becomes so important.
So like testing the words out in the real world.
Exactly. And the more you use them, the easier it gets. Kind of like when you first learn to ride a bike, it's wobbly at first, but then it becomes natural.
I'm starting to see how it all comes together.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just feels like there are too many words in English.
Right.
Where do I even start?
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing you can do is focus on the most common words. There are lists out there that tell you which words are used the most in speaking and writing.
Okay.
And you'd be surprised how far those basic words can take you.
So it's like building a good foundation first.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a race.
I like that.
Yeah. And remember, even small steps make a big difference.
That's true. It's important to celebrate those small wins along the way.
Exactly.
But, sometimes staying motivated is tough,
Right.
especially when you're learning on your own. How do you avoid getting burned out?
Well, that's where being creative and having fun comes in.
Okay.
Try to find ways to use English in your everyday life.
Ooh, I like that.
Like, instead of just watching TV, try putting on English subtitles and see if you can pick up new words.
Okay.
Or you could try reading a news article or short story every day in English.
Okay.
You could even just change your phone's settings to English.
Oh, I never thought about that. It's like finding little ways to use English without it being a big chore.
Yeah, exactly.
What about games? I hear people talking about Wordle for learning new words.
Games are great.
Yeah.
Wordle, Scrabble, crossword puzzles, they all make you think about words in new ways.
Yeah.
And, competition can really make you want to learn.
It's like a fun brain workout.
Exactly.
Speaking of fun, what about all those funny expressions in English? Like idioms, slang.
Oh, yeah. Idioms are really important for sounding natural. They can be tricky to learn, but they often create a picture in your mind that helps you remember them.
Okay.
Like, instead of saying, it's raining hard, you can say, it's raining cats and dogs.
I like that one. It's like adding some flavor to your English.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to try using them, even if you don't get them perfect at first.
Okay.
It shows that you're really trying to understand the language.
That's a good point. Okay. So we've talked about flashcards and spaced repetition, but what are some other ways to really learn new words?
One technique that's really helpful is visualization.
Visualization. Like closing your eyes and picturing the word.
Sort of, yeah. It's about creating a strong image in your mind that connects to the word's meaning.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're learning the word serene, you could imagine a calm lake reflecting the sky or a quiet forest.
Oh, I see. It's like making the word come alive in your mind.
Exactly. And the more senses you use, the better you'll remember it.
Hmm.
You can even try moving or using gestures.
Oh.
If you're learning exuberant, you could jump up and down, throw your arms in the air, really feel the word.
I like that. It's like making vocabulary a full body experience. I'm definitely feeling more motivated already.
Yeah, and that's what's important, right?
Hmm.
When learning feels like a chore, it's easy to quit.
Okay.
But when you find ways to make it fun and interesting, then you'll actually want to keep going.
That's so true. It's about enjoying the journey, not just
Yeah.
trying to reach the end.
Exactly. And remember, learning a language is a lifelong thing. There's always something new to learn, a new meaning to discover.
Yeah, I love that. It's not about becoming perfectly fluent. It's about constantly growing and learning.
Exactly. And as you learn more words, you're not just learning words, you're learning more about the world and your place in it.
Wow, that's pretty deep.
Yeah.
I'm definitely feeling inspired to improve my vocabulary now.
Good.
But before we get into all the specifics, I think it's time for a break.
Sounds good. Let's let our brains rest for a bit and come back ready for more.
Oh,
Okay.
sounds good.
Cool. All right, ready to jump back into those words?
You bet. I'm feeling pretty pumped to learn some more vocabulary tricks. What do you have for us next?
Well, we've talked about how important it is to, actively use what you learn, but let's get into specifics.
Yeah.
One really good way to learn new words is to use them in your writing.
Writing. I thought we were talking about speaking.
But both are important, of course.
Okay.
But writing gives you time to really think about the words you're using and try different ways of expressing yourself.
So it's kind of like a safe space to play with language without anyone listening.
Yeah, exactly. And the great thing is you can always go back and change things until it sounds perfect.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like having your own personal editor for your vocabulary.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I'm not much of a writer. Any tips on how to make it part of my routine without getting overwhelmed?
Oh, definitely. You don't have to write a whole book or anything.
Okay, good.
Even something simple like keeping a journal can really help.
But, like, dear diary,
Yeah.
today I learned the word exuberant.
Well, it could be that simple, but you can also try being more creative.
Okay.
You could write short stories, poems, even song lyrics, just anything that gets you using language in new ways.
I like that. It's about finding ways to make writing fun and personal.
Exactly.
But what about when you just can't think of the right word?
Mm.
Like, I know what I want to say, but the word just won't come out.
The dreaded tip of the tongue feeling.
Yeah.
We've all been there, and actually, that means your brain is working hard to find the right word, which is a good thing.
So even struggling to find the word is a sign of progress.
Exactly. It means your vocabulary is growing, and your brain is making new connections.
Okay.
The trick is not to give up too easily.
Mm.
Don't immediately look it up in a dictionary or thesaurus.
Okay.
Try to describe the word, think of similar words, or even act it out.
So it's like giving your brain a workout, making it figure it out on its own.
Exactly. And you might surprise yourself by actually remembering the word, and that makes it more likely you'll remember it next time.
Okay, I'll have to try that next time I get stuck. But what about when you do need to look up a word? What's the best way to do that?
All right, so when you do grab a dictionary or thesaurus, don't just quickly glance at the definition. Take some time to really understand the word, all its little shades of meaning.
Okay.
Look at example sentences, see where the word comes from, and try to come up with your own examples.
So it's like turning each new word into its own little research project.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
more you learn about a word, the more likely it is to stick with you.
That makes sense.
And speaking of making words stick, let's talk about mnemonics.
Mnemonics, those are those memory tricks, right? Like rhymes or acronyms.
That's right. And they can be super helpful for remembering vocabulary.
Okay.
For example, if you're trying to remember auspicious, which means favorable, you could create a mnemonic like, a spacious house is an auspicious sign.
I like that. It's like creating a little story in your mind.
Exactly. And the more creative and funny it is, the easier it is to remember.
Okay. I'm definitely going to try using mnemonics, but let's be real. Sometimes it's tough to stay motivated, especially when you're learning by yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
You're right. It can be tough. One of the best things you can do is find a language partner or a group to practice with.
Oh.
Having someone to talk to share your struggles and successes with can make a huge difference.
So like a workout buddy for your vocabulary.
Exactly. And even if you can't find someone in person, there are tons of online communities where you can connect with other language
Still,
learners.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
What about all those language learning apps and websites? Are those any good?
They can be helpful, but it's important to use them the right way. Don't just rely on apps for learning new words. Think of them as a way to practice what you're already learning and have some fun while you're at it.
So it's all about balance, using technology to help you learn, but not letting it become a crutch.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to try different apps and websites until you find ones that work for you.
Okay, I feel like I have a much better idea of how to take my vocabulary learning to the next level.
Great.
But before we finish up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on why expanding your vocabulary is so important beyond just being able to communicate better.
That's a great question. It really goes so much deeper than just words.
Mm,
It's about expanding your mind, understanding the world better, and being able to connect with people on a deeper level.
wow, that's pretty powerful. It's like vocabulary is the key to unlocking all sorts of new possibilities.
Exactly. And the more words you know, the more you can express yourself in your thoughts, your writing, your conversations. You'll be able to understand different points of view, appreciate the beauty of language, and even think more critically and creatively.
I'm starting to see how vocabulary really is like a superpower.
It is.
It's not just about sounding smart. It's about unlocking your potential as a communicator, a thinker, a person.
That's a great way to put it. And the best part is, anyone can have this superpower.
Hmm.
All it takes is a little curiosity, a willingness to try new things, and a commitment to making vocabulary a part of your life.
I love that. It's a journey that never really ends, and the rewards are huge.
They are, so keep exploring, keep playing with language, and most importantly, have fun. There's so much to discover in the world of words.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
but I know there's always more to learn about language. So before we go, is there anything else you want to share with our listeners? Any last bits of wisdom?
Yeah, one thing people don't always realize is how much vocabulary is connected to culture. As you learn new words, you're also learning about different ways of thinking, different values, different ways of seeing the world.
It's interesting. It's like each word is a little peek into a different culture.
Exactly. Like, let's take the word hygge. It's Danish.
Pig.
Yeah, there's not really a good English translation for it, but it basically means a feeling of coziness, contentment, connection. By learning that word, you're not just learning a word, you're learning about an important part of Danish culture.
That's so cool. It's like learning a new word is like cracking a code to a whole new culture.
Yeah, and the more words you learn, the more connected the world feels.
Hmm.
You start to see patterns and connections and shared experiences that you might not have noticed before.
It's like putting on a new pair of glasses. Suddenly you see everything more clearly.
Exactly. And it's not just about understanding other cultures, it's about understanding your own culture better, too.
How so?
Well, when you explore all the little details of language, you become more aware of your own biases, assumptions, and how you see the world.
Yeah, that's true. It's like language shows us not just what we say, but how we think.
Right. And when we become more aware of our language, we can be more thoughtful about our thoughts, our actions, and how we affect the world.
Wow. I never thought about it like that before. It's amazing how something as simple as vocabulary can be so important in our lives. Do you have any last words of encouragement for our listeners who are working on their own vocabulary?
Well, just remember that learning a language is like running a marathon, not a sprint.
Hmm.
There will be days when you feel stuck or frustrated, maybe even want to give up.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's important to celebrate those small wins, to appreciate the journey, and never forget the joy of discovery.
I love that. It's about enjoying the process, not just reaching the end. And who knows, maybe you'll discover a love for languages you never knew you had.
Exactly. So keep exploring, keep playing with language, and most importantly, have fun. The world of words is huge, and there's always something new to learn.
That's a great way to put it. I think that's the perfect place to wrap up. Thanks for joining me on this vocabulary journey.
It was my pleasure. Happy learning, everyone.